what we're going to go through now is a system of assessment where we can use our neural techniques to identify where the drivers of the patient's pain may be. So the first thing for your setup is the patient must know that their back muscles or their rectus spina is really relaxed. There's no use doing neural techniques if their back's in spasm. Now you've noticed here that I've got a towel under Mika's waistline just so that I don't get too much. You don't need that all the time, but just so that there's no overload on her back. And I get them to put that patient to put their hand on their back to be sure their back is relaxed all the time while we're doing this. So the bottom line is there must be no pain at any point while we're going through this testing. So the first thing we're going to do is do the lower limb. All right, so much more comfortable side lying than in sitting. So take your leg out and then pull your toes forward and back. Okay, now does that cause you any back pain? Okay, and then rest again. So we can basically wind that up a little bit till there's a little bit of tension. So I work on the basis that we need to be able to get our hips at 90 degrees without the back going into spasm. So I tend to shift the person to 90 degrees and just recheck the test, neural testing then. Okay, forward and back, no pain in your back, and that's fine for her. So now we want to go through upper limb, and what I do here is just link your fingers behind your neck, that's it, and link them, clasp them quite closely, that's it. And this is a nice way, it's sort of a modified upper limb neural tension test, but you can also get an idea of how much thoracic spine mobility they've got. And obviously most of us, most of our patients tend to be stiff in thoracic spine, as you know. So off we go. I want your eyes and your head to follow your elbow as you go back. Now she's got great thoracic spine mobility. I might dare say just twice, you might want to do it 3 times, and just relax your arms there. Now just retest your legs now. So straighten that leg, pull forward and back. All right. Has that made that any easier or tighter? So if a stiffness of the thoracic spine was, or any upper limb neural tension here was contributing to that back pain, that neural test would be a lot easier. Now I want a dramatic result, so I don't want just a small result with that, all right? So if it's just a little bit easier, I'm not interested. Now, the next step is I go through, now you can choose where you want to mobilise at this point, but the drivers I tend to find for not letting the back pain settle or contributing to it is O1C1. So I just go on to the transverse process here. I just do a little bit of a mobilisation of O1C1. All right, now I might just want to, that feels very stiff. That's often enough, just rechecking with your leg, forward and back, straightening that leg there, Mika. And then forward and back and relaxing. I only need to do it once. If the upper cervical spine, and you can do C2 mobilisation as well, is contributing to that back pain, you will get a dramatic improvement of that lower limb tension test. Now, I actually, if C1 and C2 are stiff, I'll also mobilise the jaw, so I'll come right through to here, and because with forward head and neck posture, as you know, then C1 is overloaded, the jaw may be stiff, so I'll just mobilise the jaw, and unbelievably, that may release the lower limb tension test as well. But I do jaw, O1C1, recheck. Then I move down. Then I'll go down to T2 to T4, I'll go on to the angle of the ribs. Again, it only needs to be 2 or 3 times. It's better to work on the angle of the ribs rather than on the spinous process. I find that more effective. All right, to release costotransverse and costovertebral joint from between T2 and T4. And again, straighten the leg, I would retest. All right, and relax again. I'm doing this a little bit quickly. You know, you need to go and slow that back a little bit if you're actually doing these techniques. Then I move down to T12, L1, L2, L3, which is where psoas starts from the back and rides its way through to the front and moves through to the front. I'm on this transverse process. Again, I'm just doing a Maitland technique 2 or 3 times just on the transverse process, and then off you go again. I would recheck that. Again, as I said, I'm going a little bit quickly through that. You could slow that down. Now, I actually don't even touch the back at this point, but your next step is once you've figured out what's contributing to the tension in the lower limb here, that can become the basis of your exercise program. It might be that you've noticed improving your thoracic mobility, freed this up, that can become one of your exercises. Upper cervical spine or jaw contributing to lower limb, that would become one of your exercises, teaching them postural correction. You may then want to progress to working more specifically on the lower back, but that's not my first point of call here. So give it a try. You'll find it quite fascinating. It's easy to do, and if you're treating somebody with a locked back or any back pain at all, it's a very easy way of identifying what might be contributing or the driver to their pain.